Preview of Liren vs Levon Aronian, World Cup 2017, Final. Liren will play Levon Aronian in the final of the FIDE World Cup, 2017. Here's a preview of what's in store. Here we analyze their game from 2013. Let's begin. Pawn to d4, pawn to d5, pawn to c4, pawn to c6, the Slav defense, knight to f3, knight to f6, knight to c3, pawn to a6, Aronian plays the fashionable Chibanenko variation, pawn to e3, pawn to e6, now it transposes to the semi-Slav and is an accelerated Liren, pawn to c5, knight b8 to d7, pawn to b4, gaining space on the queen side and supporting the pawn on c5, pawn to b6, bishop to b2, pawn to a5, pawn to a3, bishop to e7, bishop to d3, black castles king side, white castles king side. Bishop to a6, black wants to get rid of his potential bad bishop for white's good one on d3, knight to e1, bishop to c4, bishop takes on c4, pawn takes bishop on c4, queen to e2, rook to b8, rook to a2, if queen takes on c4, then b-pawn takes on c5, b-pawn takes on c5 and knight takes on c5 with advantage to black. Therefore, rook a2 supporting the bishop and also a future doubling on the a-file. Pawn to b5, pawn to e4, now white has excellent control in the center, rook to b7, knight to c2, knight to b8, rook a2 to a1, with dulling prospects on the a-file, Ding starts to centralize his pieces, queen to c8, rook a1 to d1, rook to d8, bishop to c1, knight to a6, bishop to f4, black is feeling cramped and Ding starts putting more pressure controlling the important dark squares, rook b7 to d7, pawn to h3, black has to wait passively. He has to wait patiently. Trying desperately for counterplay isn't recommended in such a position. White gradually improves his position, knight to e8, queen to e3, bishop to f6, pawn to e5, bishop to e7, knight to e4, knight a6 to c7, black is basically lost now. But still bringing home the full point is not at all simple, knight to d6, queen to a8, queen to g3, now white plans a vicious kingside attack, knight to d5, knight to e3, knight to c3, rook d1 to e1, bishop takes on d6, the knight was being too much of a nuisance, e-pawn takes bishop on d6, knight to e4, queen to h4, knight to d2, pause the video and try to come up with a move for white, knight to d5, yes. It is knight to d5, knight takes rook on f1, knight to b6, queen to a7, the rook on d7 can't run away because of queen takes rook on d8, therefore rook takes knight on f1, knight to f6, bishop to e5, knight to d5, should white capture the rook now? No, there's no time for that. Ding played, knight takes knight on d5, e-pawn takes on d5, can you guess what Ding played here? Bishop takes g7, a crushing move, king takes bishop on g7, white is winning now, queen to g5 check, king to f8, queen to f6, king to g8, queen to g5 check, king to f8, queen to f6, Ding repeats to get to the time control and now, king to g8, rook to e1, white is a whole rook down but black can do absolutely nothing, a pawn takes on b4, rook to e5, pawn to h6, rook to h5, queen takes on a3, queen takes on h6, pawn to f6, queen takes on f6, mate on h8 is threatened and if rook to g7, queen takes. On d8 check, king to f7, queen e7 check, king to g8 and queen e8 checkmate, therefore, Aronian resigned. A remarkable game from Liren, that truly marked his entry into the super elite of chess. Surprisingly enough, Aronian has never managed to beat Liren. We expect a thrilling final, and it's going to be full of exciting games. In such a crucial game, experience counts, and we predict Aronian will narrowly edge out Ding and win his second World Cup. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. Subscribe to watch more videos. Have a nice day.